Welcome class, myself Professor D.S. Rai, Professor Department of Civil Engineering, BBD ITM Lucknow. Today the course we have discussed foundation engineering, in which we will take up lecture 30, in which we will discuss sinking, tilt and shift of well foundation. References I have taken Dr. B.C. Punamiya, Soil Mechanics and Foundation, V.N.S. Murthy, Soil Mechanics and Foundation Engineering, Alam Singh, Soil Mechanics and Foundation Engineering, Dr. R.K. Arora, Soil Mechanics and Foundation Engineering, and some material have been taken from internet. The content today will take up sinking of well, tilt and shift. The topic we are going to discuss sinking of well. Sinking operation consists of following steps. Survey means setting out, cutting edge fabrication, placing and assembling of cutting edge, well curve construction, grounding of well curve, construction of well foundation, staining, well sinking, setting of foundation well, construction of well foundation bottom plug, sand filling, construction of well cap. So, first of all we will take up survey, means setting out of our work. Setting out is the establishment of the point and the line to define the actual location and level of a structural element for the construction work, so that construction of well foundation words may proceed with reference to them. The purpose of surveying is to ascertain the position of existing features by measurement for well foundation procedure. With the help of the total station, accurate layout of the bridge center line and pier location to be marked. Today we have of course many instruments, but total station is quite accurate and quite reliable instrument that we can use. So, the work like a bridge which needs a very precise, in which we will take up total station for surveying purpose, for setting out the work. A reference survey point shall be established away from the zone of blow up or possible settlement area resulting from well sinking. Such reference point shall be connected to permanent station with a baseline at the bank. The next is cutting edge fabrication. Cutting edge shall be fabricated in the yard and as per approved design and drawing. Cutting edge shall be fabricated in some segment depending upon circumference and ease of handling and transporting. It has to be cold bent after joining the two angle back to back. So, our suppose this is a this is the one angle and this another is this angle. So, these two are back to back. Heating not permitted at all. It should be properly anchored with the well curved concrete. In case blasting is anticipated, part of the inner face of the well curve is armed with the steel plate. So, we can see here this is the angle iron which are welded together and they are placing on the ground. So, we can very easily see this is the curve fabricated at the site. The next is placing and assembling of cutting edge. Well foundation procedure involves checking of the center point of the foundation well as per design coordinates before placing with the help of total station. Provide 4 permanent reference pillars along and across the bridge center line. The area will be leveled and compacted before placing of cutting edge. The cutting edge will be placed over the wooden sleeper, maintaining the spacing 2 meter center to center. Means if you have this should be placed, this is the sleeper placed and cutting edge is placed over the wooden sleeper. The segment will be joined by the splicing plate as per approved drawing. In case of massive cutting edge, it is preferable to place it on rollers. In case of final checking of the construction of the well foundation includes alignment level and splicing joint etc. The next is well curve construction. It is the wedge shaped reinforced concrete ring beam shape, a structural element located at the lower part of a staining. Well curve is provided to facilitate sinking of the well effectively. After laying, then the inner formworks have been taken. The first of all, internal formworks shall be erected and joined to form the proper shape as per drawing, providing and fixing horizontal and diagonal support. Shuttering should be cleaned and a standard form releasing agent like oil must be applied on the surface. Seal the shuttering joint using foam sheet to make leak proof. This is the inner formwork. We can easily see the formwork have been prepared and this is the reinforcement inside, it is quite visible here and this is the inner formwork. So, first of all inner formworks are prepared. Now, the next is a reinforcement fixing. The next step is reinforcement. Rebars are cut and bent at the reinforcement yard. Check rebars for corrosion and pitting. Provide adequate number of circular cover blocks 75 mm. Vertical reinforcement bar are to be properly anchored with the cutting edge with the help of welding or nut bolt as per approved design and drawing. Outer formwork. The entire floor area should be properly cleaned before fixing outer formworks. Formworks shall be fixed as per approved drawing. Shuttering shall be cleaned and a standard foam releasing agent like oil should applied on the formwork. Seal the shutter joints using foam sheet to make leak proof. Fix coil anchor to appropriate location for erection of shuttering for the next lift. Outer formwork is supported by encompassing the circumference by wire rope tightened with the tongue buckle. The inner and outer shutter should be connected by the lateral bracing. So, the next is well curve concreting. We can see here the well curve concreting. The concrete shall be placed in a single and continuous pour by crane bucket or pump as per availability, ensuring the proper compaction. It is very important that the concrete should be proper, continuous and proper compaction. Deshuttering and a gauge marking. This is the important part. Inner formwork can be removed after 72 hours, means 6 days, 3 days, sorry. Outer formwork may be removed after setting of concrete. Gauge marking shall be done along both axes of 4 outer face location of the foundation well with paint by using templates. We can see here this is the reinforcement and concrete is going on. This is the reinforcement and concrete is pouring here. This is the reinforcement placed here. The ground of well curve, this is the important part. The next important part is grounding of well curve. Grounding of well curve is the process for transferring the load from the wooden sleeper to the ground truly centrically and vertically without tilt and shift. Successfully grounding is a crucial for further activity of the construction of well foundation. Grounding may start after removal of inner formwork. First of all, we will remove inner formwork. Before starting our work, first of all we have prepared inner formwork, then we prepared outer formwork. For the removal, again inner formwork is removed first, gunny bags filled with sand shall be placed between the wooden sleeper along the periphery of the bottom of the cutting edge. Means in between the sleeper, gunny bags filled with the sand will be placed. The load of curve transferred from the wooden sleeper to sand filled gunny bag and finally to the ground by cutting diagonally opposite gunny bags by knife. And after putting the loads to the gunny bags is cut by the knife, so that the sand will be come out from the gunny bag and our well curve will be placed on the ground, actual ground. The initial sinking of curve is significant and shall be done manually as possible as keeping the curve top approximately 1 meter above the ground level. Now, staining. This is the important part of the well foundation. After grounding the well curve and its initial sinking, the well is built by the construction stemming in a stage and lift and subsequent sinking of the same. The height of sustaining is 2 meter for the first lift and thereafter 2 to 2.5 meter, and the number of lift should be minimum to avoid the construction joint. It is very important. The chance of tilting increase if the well is made top heavy by raising the standing too high in the first instance. The standing shall be built in one straight line for the from bottom to top, such that if the well is tilted, the next lift of standing will be aligned in the direction of the tilt. Straightness check shall be with the aid of an approved length of straight edge. Shear key shall be provided in the construction joint of well standing. So, we can see here this is the well sinking in the river, this is the standing, this is the standing already constructed, and this is the formwork is now prepared. This is the reinforcement, it is already seen here. After proper placing of this formwork, then the concreting shall be started. So, this is the scene of a typical well foundation. Well sinking is the another main important operation. The sinking of well is done by two methods: open sinking of well, which is generally used in India, and pneumatic sinking, used rarely when the open sinking does not help due to hard strata. The sinking operation involves lowering of well by dredging in the dredge hole. Plate grab is used to in soft strata like sand, silt, soft clay, sandy clay, dense sand, etc. The hard and stiff clay strata, heavy duty chisels are used, followed by dredging by the tine grabs. Level and alignment, tilt and shift of well shall be checked regularly at every 0.5 meter of sinking. The sinking operation shall be preferably non-stop under the skilled supervision. Sinking operations shall be preferably non-stop with the help of skilled supervision. Dredge material shall not be heaved on one side of the well to avoid tilt and shift. Suppose we are dredging the material and placing just on the side of the well staining. So, this will exert pressure on the constructed well, and this will cause tilt and shift both in the well. Dredging material shall not be heaved on one side, that should be placed around the well uniformly, if not sent outside. The sitting of foundation well, the well shall be uniformly seated on the foundation strata. It shall be ensured that soil strata on the encountered at the founding level and up to a depth of 1.5 times of the foundation well level and up to a depth of 1.5 times foundation well diameter is uniform and identical to that adopted in the design. In case well is in hard, steeply sloped rocky strata, pneumatic method of sinking may be adopted to sit the well evenly. Suitable sump, preferably d by 6, shall be provided. Sandy strata, light blasting may be done for consolidation of soil and loose material shall be dredged out thereafter. Now, bottom plug, this is the one of the last thing which is happened at the bottom level of the well. The bottom plug concreting will be done by the trim method or escape box method. The top level of bottom plug shall be kept minimum 300 mm above the top of the well curve. Concrete shall be poured without interruption up to the required level as per drawing. The concrete mix shall be of nearly M40 and the cement content should be 330 kg per cubic meter with a sump of about 150 mm. Soundness of the bottom plug should be checked after dewatering. After dewatering from the well, if water is coming more than 10 centimeter per hour, then it should be again checked and make waterproof. Sand filling, the sand filling may be started at the completion of the soundness of check. Backfilling material should be cleaned and free from earth and clay and clads. The sinking of well foundation, the following operation is carried out while sinking the well foundation. Excavation of material inside the well curve either mechanically or manually, allow well to be a stable vertically position. Excavation under water can be made manually to a depth of 1 meter and after depth of water exceed 1 meter by jams or grabs could be used. As well sinking process start, a skin friction increases and the weight of well decreases due to buoyancy. If well foundation does not sink, the sunk by applying a cartilage. If the measures are not working, jet outside of the well and grease the outer side of the well, so that the skin friction may reduce. So, this is the example the sinking of well. If there is no problem, then the island sand island is made and over which the cutting edge is placed and the staining could be constructed. This is the, if the strata is very hard, in that case cartilage could be placed over the top of the well. Shifting and tilting of well foundation, this is the very unfortunate thing that happen in the well foundation. The precaution to prevent the shifting and tilting, the diameter of well curve should be more than the external diameter of staining. Generally, a difference of 40 to 80 mm is recommended. If there is a gap or diameter is slightly lesser, then the skin friction will act at that time will be lesser and so the sinking will be more easier. The well staining should be systematically placed over the curve, all should be uniformly drag, the cutting edge should be uniformly thick and sharp. The limitations is the maximum permissible tilt is 1:60 and shift is not more than 1% of depth of sunk, which already done. Remedial measures of tilt and shift. So, the rectifying method for rectification of shifting and tilting problem in the well foundation are as follow: eccentric loading, excavation on higher side, water jetting, pulling the well, using hydraulic jacks, using struts, excavation under cutting edge, wood sleeper under the cutting edge. These are the different remedial measures that have been done in the sinking of the well, and they are for the different problems we will discuss here. Eccentric loading: suppose our well is sinks one side and now our staining is now inclined, slightly inclined. So, we will place a cantilage on other side of a staining of extended or eccentric portion. The load is placed on or cartilage is placed over the extended portion on other side of a staining. So, we can see here this is our well, and in this side the well is slightly inclined. So, we make a platform here and load is placed over here eccentrically, so that the this portion, this staining portion will experience more load than this one, and so this will go deeper easily. So, this is the eccentric loading required when one side of the staining is inclined. Then excavation on the higher side. Suppose this is our well and it is now inclined like this way. So, excavation could be done at this portion, higher side portion, so that staining portion will sink. Then water jetting: if the there is a problem of tilting of the staining, then the water may be applied by jet to reduce the friction forces between the staining and the soil. So, in this portion water is now forced on this portion. The pulling the well, if required, then the well is pulled on other side of the tilt portion by a steel rope, and it could be make such a position that will make a vertical. Pushing using jacks, if it is inclined, then the tilted portion of the well is now forced by the hydraulic jack, so that it may exert force to make the well vertical. Using struts, if our well is tilted, in that case we can provide this struts, where the lower edge should be firmly fixed on the ground. So, the process of tilting of the well will stop immediately, and then we can make a provision to make the well vertical. Excavation under the cutting edge: if one side of cutting edge is not sinking properly, then we can excavate earth under the neath of the cutting edge. So, it can be easily sink. Wood sleeper under the cutting edge: if one side is going very sinking very fast rate, then we can place a sleeper at the bottom of the cutting edge of that part of a staining, so that other side may go sinking with the proper rate. So, thank you very much.